Humans make decisions based on emotions. There's no way around that. So let's understand what that means and provide the education and training to take that emotional information and turn that into data in your head to react and do something different. We took AI and took the content of each of our training modules and converted that into music. Instead of taking end of the training quiz, you're listening to what you should have learned in the class, because everyone learns differently and everyone thinks differently, how to look at what we're doing. What I'm going to talk to you about today is a little bit about how we're approaching AI, because that's a huge disruption in our industry, and then what we're doing to power our human workforce to utilize AI in whatever the future holds for all of us. And we view that our AI solutions are built to be invisible and needed where it matters most, frictionless, adaptive, but really the technology we harness to power our people to provide better service. That's, in essence, what we're doing. How do we do this? I think most companies today are facing, we have to drive faster resolution without burning out our people, equipping our teams with tools and autonomy to succeed, and foster a culture that values both outcomes and experience. Hopefully, that's what people are focused on from a culture perspective. So, teleperformance. Almost 500,000 people around the world. We operate in 100 countries, service 170 countries, over 300 languages. If I take this away, the easiest way to think about it is we're a call center company. In the old days, we would have been considered a BPO. We take phone calls or interactions on behalf of our clients. Our clients are some of the largest clients in the world. If I challenge you to take your wallet out and look at your bank card or whoever your telco company is, your Wi-Fi service, your transportation company, most of the time my people are delivering a service when you interact with them. So I hope you get a good experience. To give you context in terms of scope and why the AI-EI piece is important for us, we interact with 8 billion people on behalf of our clients every year, or 26 million people every single day. Internally, and how we interact with each other, is 22 million interactions a year, or 55,000, what I call emotional intelligence touch points with our people every single day. And if you think about the last speaker and how he talked about that transformation or moving to a people-centric culture and focus, that's exactly what we're doing. And we call this a cultural evolution of how we're evolving our culture, not a revolution. So from a perspective, the easiest way to think about it is what we do from a people perspective. We're a leading global platform. We incorporate technology, our expertise, and our excellence. I will say we are a very process-driven company, and we have to be that way, because I could have a client that I'm servicing them out of 5 different countries with 10,000 different people, and the process of how I deliver service has to be consistent. But I also agree, and we spend a lot of time on this, we don't let bureaucracy get in the way of our process or our people. We've all heard about AI, and I put this up here because for us this is critical. There's a lot of hype about AI, and there were many companies over the past 2 to 3 years that were rushing just to implement an AI technology, to say that I implemented an AI technology without understanding the downstream impacts or effects. In our world today, from a compliance or regulatory perspective, whether here in the EU GDPR or soon to be the new AI regulation coming out, understanding the impact that any AI solution can have is going to be critical in your organization from a compliance or regulatory perspective. As I said, we need to understand the differences between the hype and what's real, identify where AI can generally enhance efficiency, continuously monitor, evaluate, and adapt. As I mentioned a minute ago, ensure the ethical use of AI, and ethics and AI, or ethics and data, is going to be or is becoming a huge aspect that any organization, HR, or any other function within a company needs to focus on. And invest AI education and upskilling your people. Your people have to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and more importantly, how it affects them. Because most people think or relate AI to is going to replace my job. And in our industry, the customer experience industry, that is a huge question out there today. Will AI take over a normal customer interaction? Our belief, which is why we're doing the program we're doing, which I'll share in a moment, is that AI is very good, but it cannot replicate human empathy, and it cannot today, at least, replicate human emotion. And my business is exactly that, because I have 500,000 people around the world interacting with our clients' customers every day, and they're interacting from an emotional perspective. How we approach AI, and this is just a very high-level view, is we have a plug-and-play model that I can use both with our clients in their ecosystem, but everything on the right-hand side is what I do internally today. So not only are we looking at AI and how I can help our clients improve their efficiency or operations, we're also doing that internally with what we can do to drive efficiency, reduce bureaucracy, faster decisions, or the best way to think about it is, if any of our people in the company have a question, they can have the technology side by side with them to give them the right answer at the right time at the right place. That's the goal. So now I'm going to talk the last part of the presentation mostly about our EI program, and how we looked at this is looking at what we call EI, or high touch, AR is high technology, and our global processes on how we do things within the company, and our people are at the center. And then how we think about our service is a service from the heart is the service that our people provide our clients' customers, what we do to answer calls or interactions to solve problems or whatever the issue may be. But also, and equally important, is the service as leaders we provide our people. Or another way to think about it is what I'm going to ask my people to do in their interactions with our clients' customers, I'm asking our managers to do with our interactions with our people. Because both have to be equal and both are equally important in order to drive the change that we're trying to drive from an emotional intelligence perspective. How we approach the program is very simple. I'm a process-driven person. That's how my mind works. And we just outlined what's the employee life cycle or employee journey. And you can apply this to any company. Most companies have the same process. We attract and hire. Hopefully you onboard and train. You engage them, manage performance, develop and coach, etc. And we looked at our levels, our front line we call customer experts, to our middle managers and the executive team. And what does that process look like? And from an emotional intelligence or AI perspective, where is the best place to integrate both aspects of the journey into this process? And what we've done is we've spent many months developing a program. We piloted it last year in 4 countries. We have it by work stream based on that life cycle. And we're now in the middle of the launch. Last week I was in Spain. That's our 22nd country that we've launched the program, and we're taking every manager and executive in every country through the training and the launch program. This is how we've defined what emotional intelligence is. It's very simple to understand. You think about what know yourself means is what happens within my mind when I get an emotional response, and how do I recognize that and understand what that's saying. From a human body perspective, emotions are a chemical reaction, not an electrical reaction. It takes about 6 seconds for the chemicals to reach your brain, for your brain to recognize whatever that emotion is that you're experiencing. And then self-regulation is great. Now I understand that. How do I use that information that my brain is telling me to react differently based on whatever the situation is? And then motivation is how do I harness those emotions to drive goals, achievements, etc. And give yourself is really focused on empathy. So now I understand my emotion. I understand what my brain or the emotional signals are telling me. How do I then interpret how that person I'm interacting with is reacting to what I'm doing, which is the empathy side, putting yourself in their position to understand what's actually happening. So what we've done also then is approach this from a level perspective training-wise, and training is a huge portion of what we're actually driving. So every single employee in the bottom level around the company is going through what we call a white level, but awareness and education or skills training. And then level 2 is focus solely on emotional intelligence, be trained on the empathy aspect that I mentioned. We're working with the International Coaching Federation, where I will, by the end of this year, have 700 ICF certified coaches, and their sole job is to be as a resource for our management team to coach from an EI perspective if they're running into issues or need help. Then I'll have 40 level 2 certified coaches, master coach process. And just as important, again, thinking about that service from the heart and managing from the heart that I mentioned, our executive team, which we have about 2,700 directors and above globally, will all receive EI-focused coaching of 5 to 6 hours a year. And why that's important is what we're doing is working from the bottom and the top down to the middle. So, or another way to think about it is, if the management team or executive team isn't living what we're asking our people to do, it's not going to work, it's going to fail. So we're having everyone go through the entire process. So by the time we're done, by December of this year, 100% of all of our employees around the world will have gone through a portion or all of our program. And as I mentioned, we've separated this out by function, by that life cycle. So I have global leads and then country-level leads as we launch the program, all working together based on each aspect, because what we've done is, again, if you think about that life cycle that I talked about, we've incorporated what we call EI competencies or aspects into every piece of that process. So what does skill profiling look like if emotional intelligence is important to us? Or how do we hire people? What we have incorporated EI components into job descriptions, into our annual or quarterly, monthly, annual performance process activity. All of it to drive the movement of EI in our business to drive better outcomes. And then knowledge and skills training and reinforcement, which is critical. So there are aspects of the program where we're asking our people, are they seeing a difference, feeling a difference? What does one-on-ones look like? How are trainings going, et cetera, to make sure that we're holding everyone accountable to deliver the program. And we are measuring the outcome. It's interesting, at least the way we've approached this is our measurement isn't a typical ROI measurement where we said before we launched the program, I need X return. We've taken this huge leap of faith and not really knowing what the outcome is going to be, but hoping and thinking that we'll have a positive outcome. And so we are measuring ROI, but just to make sure we're doing it the right way, not because we're spending too much money or not enough money, as an example. From a training perspective, as I mentioned, 95% of our people globally will be through the program by the end of this year. And also, how we measure or decided to look at the ROI or the KPI measurement is aligned with that service from the heart and managing from the heart aspect. So on the left-hand side, I think every company in this or in the room probably looks at these similar metrics, except maybe Glassdoor or Great Place to Work. But we're looking at our key employee metrics to see if they're feeling, at least from the metric perspective, better and happier, because we believe happy employees, they'll show up more, there'll be less absence, we'll have reduced attrition, et cetera. But we're also work with Great Place to Work. We have a global alliance with them where we have an annual program, similar to most companies, where we're measuring trust index scores, et cetera, with Great Place to Work. But we eliminated our annual internal survey, and we now just use Great Place to Work as an example. On service from the heart, this is strictly for how we measure our business. If our clients outsource to more than one company, what % of the share of that wallet do we have for the outsourcing. And again, if our program improves, we should see our share of wallet increase, or how we're performing from a stack ranking perspective. And KSAT is our client satisfaction survey that we do. So we should be getting feedback from our clients as well. And then integrated into this is our employee engagement strategy. So everything in the red to the left is our internal, and the orange is external. And it all culminates with the annual Great Place to Work survey. So we interact with our people. That's part of that 25 million that I talked about at the beginning, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, asking questions about what's happening, what are roadblocks from you being successful, et cetera. And then we also monitor third-party boards like Glassdoor, Indeed, or Comparably, because if we see anything that our people or ex-employees say externally that we've not seen internally, we failed, and we need to figure out why someone feels comfortable saying something outside the company and not inside the company. And then with our Great Place to Work survey, as I mentioned, and trust index scores, et cetera. Just to give you an example, when we started this 4 years ago, our trust index scores were in the low 70s. We hit 80 last year. We went from number 20 to this year number 7 in the world's best workplace, all based on feedback that our people have given directly to Great Place to Work, not to us internally. And we've also then, this is also going to be very critical to our program, we worked with Great Place to Work and pulled out 16 of their questions and statements which are EI related. So this year we'll be the first company globally to have what's called an EI index score. So we can actually then look at, based on the annual survey, what our people are telling us from an emotional intelligence perspective. Are they thinking and seeing things differently, feeling things differently? Is the culture moving to the way we want it to move? And do they feel like they have the tools to connect with our clients' customers based on what we're asking them to do from an emotional and empathy perspective, which is key. So we're not looking at as much anymore at what handle time was or productivity. It's really focused on the emotional connection with our customers and the outcome of that interaction, hopefully from a positive or resolution perspective based on whatever the interaction is. So this is my second to the last slide, but this is what I share when we do our country launches, because this is, for most people, we've been told over our career at work that don't show emotion, and emotions are a bad thing and they should be hidden. But we're all human. Humans make decisions based on emotions. There's no way around that. So let's understand what that means and provide the education and training to take that emotional information and turn that into data in your head to react and do something different. And that's really what this has done. Now, in our training for our frontline people, for those of you that you probably take compliance training on a regular basis, at the end of the session, it says, okay, you should have learned this. Here's a quick quiz. Take the quiz and tell me if you've learned what I wanted you to learn. We took AI and took the content of each of our training modules and converted that into music. And the music could be rock, it could be jazz, it could be pop, whatever genre you want. And then instead of taking end of the training quiz, you are listening to what you should have learned in the class. And then we're playing this in break rooms and training sessions and all of that. It's just another way from an experiential learning perspective, because everyone learns differently and everyone thinks differently, how to look at what we're doing. So I'm going to play a quick a snippet of the song to give you an idea of how we approach this.
In the quiet of your mind, where your feelings dwell, understanding what they mean can break the emotional shell. It's the ability to sense, to know what's deep inside, navigating through your heart where true insights reside. Self-awareness helps you see the roots of what you feel, Recognizing your own needs makes your reactions real. Being mindful of your emotions gives you the power to choose how you respond to life's challenges without feeling used. Insights in emotions shapes the way you live. It's how you understand and how you give. Feelings guide your path and help you to grow. With the heart's compass, let your true self show.
In every interaction, empathy plays its part. Understanding what these feelings connect you from the heart. It's not just about listening, but truly feeling their plight. Building stronger bonds and making things right. Regulating your emotions helps you stay composed. Managing stress and reactions when the pressure's exposed. It's the skill to remain calm even when times are tough. Turning challenges into growth when the going gets rough.
So we're running out of time, so I'm going to stop halfway through. But I would just end with this one comment. If you think about what I said at the beginning, there are not many companies in the world that have our reach with 8 billion interactions on an annual basis, and empowering our people to think from an EI perspective and how we interact with our clients' customers, for us, will be a differentiator. But that's really how we're preparing our workforce for what's to come over the next 5 to 10 years. So thank you very much.
Respect. Thank you.